What club was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
Israel Most High in Christ bless. Tonight we dealing with the elements of manhood, financial and spiritual balance portion. All right, I'm doing a 3-part series on budgeting, saving, and investing. All right, last time we did budgeting. Lord's willing, everybody took notes. The class actually out now on YouTube, so brothers, sisters, everybody can go and look at it, review it, and take that. And if you ain't watched that yet, then this one, don't leave this and go watch it. But it would be best if you would have already watched that one before this one. But if not, it's all right. But after this one, if you didn't watch that one, go and watch that one after you watch this one. All right. But anyway, Lord's willing, brothers have done researches on different ways to budget and things of that nature, because if you're not able to budget, you're not gonna be able to save. All right, so tonight we talking about saving. Now we gotta hit on this because dealing with the men, again, a lot of us have a lot of responsibility in this truth. Brothers who got rank, brothers who lead us, it's our responsibility to keep the sanctuary upheld, to keep certain equipment, up the par, to keep the lights on, right? To have a storehouse, to have a pantry. It's a lot of things that have to be upheld, and it start with our personal life. If our personal life is shambles, you understand, we're not able to pay our bills, how we going to be able to take care of the church of God? That's in the scriptures, right? So a lot of us as men, for sure, have to learn how to save. And the women as our helpmeet, right? It should be your prerogative to be always trying to find different ways to help your Lord save money, all right? A lot of us are plagued with some wives that don't do nothing but subtract from the pot. You know what I'm saying? We understand that it's some men, they don't want their wives to work, right? So they let them be housewives and stuff like that. But if you're gonna be a housewife, at least be a couponer. You know what I'm saying? At least be a sister that's always researching different programs or different certain carriers or providers that you can switch to save money, like switching insurance, switching cables, switching different companies that provide certain service. It's different. If you're sitting at the house, it's many things you could do to help your Lord, help your household save money, because it is very, very important in terms of this mission that the Lord got us set forth on, all right? So we got to go over this stuff, and we got to take heed to it. Let's open up with Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. Now, we are repenting Israelites in this truth, but, we still got nigga in us. And issue with a lot of niggas have, excuse, the slang or whatever, but it is what it is. We got to use that term. nigga. The Bible used that term in regards to finances too. But anyway, well, nigga, it's the same thing, right? A nigga got an issue with keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? Only worried about what's needed for the now. Niggas don't think long term. You understand? Niggas always worried about the now. And with that mentality, a lot of us black people live check to check. A lot of us Hispanic people live check to check. You understand? We got to stop doing that. All right? In order to stop doing that, we must learn how to save. All right? Read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 5. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness.
Right. So if you are a hardworking person, somebody that's diligent, right, and that's also going into somebody that cares about, you know, what they got coming in, your thoughts going to tend to plenteousness. You're not thinking about just for the moment. You thinking long term, right? That's if you're diligent. Read on.
But of everyone that is hasty, only to want.
Hasty, meaning you see something, you want it right then and there. And like I said, that's a lot of our wives, unfortunately, right? They got idle time to roam on the internet and always sending you screenshots of what they want to order from Amazon all day. You understand? Then they only worried about what they want. They thoughts not on plenteousness, right? Having enough to last over to the famine. You understand? Because a lot of the stuff that's $5 now, believe it or not, in the next few years, you could see it being $500. Just imagine something you used to buying $5 on the shelf being $500. You understand? That's gonna be our reality and not far removed. Not long from now. Real talk. If that's where your mind at, then you're going to be preparing. You're going to be thinking about, okay, we got this much. We're able to afford all this and this and this now. This is what we need to be focusing on. This is what we need to be drawing back from so we can have enough of the chief things in life to be able to survive when the famines that's prophesied in the Bible hit America, because they are going to. You understand? It's already in motion. So if you're diligent when it comes to applying these scriptures, you're going to make sure that that's what your mindset is, right? You're going to be worried about saving money, right? And not just worried about what you want right then and there. You hasty to get what you want. That's how you end up with living check to check. That's how you end up with an empty pot. That's how you end up distressed in times of emergency. And we're going to deal with that too. All right? But from there, go to Sirach chapter 18 and verse 25. Sirach chapter 18 and verse 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 18, verse 25. When thou hast enough, remember the time of hunger.
What did God say? Read it again.
When thou hast enough.
When thou hast enough. When you got a good amount of money coming, you have a good net income, right? If you don't know what a net income is, we went into that last class dealing with budgeting, right? A net income is what you actually make, meaning after all your expenses, all your bills paid for, your mortgage, your car note, all of that, the money that you have after the expenses are withdrawn from your gross income, you have the net income, right? So when you have plenteousness within your net income, remember the times of hunger. Remember when you didn't have much. Remember when you had to scrape up coins in order to survive. Why is the Lord making that point? Because when we have a lot, when we got a surplus of income coming in, our first thought is to go and spend more. Oh, now I can buy this. Now I can buy this new furniture. Now I can buy this new car. Now I can go get them rims. You understand? Now I can go buy the EJs. Right? That's what we think when we start to get more. God said, hey, pump your brakes. When you see all that coming in, remember when you ain't have nothing. Remember how you wished you had $100 in your bank account. You understand? Remember that when you wished you would have saved all that money you was spending on fast food every day. All that unnecessary. When you broke, you think about them times that you threw away food when you had a half a plate left. You know what I'm saying? You think about that time when you walked past that quarter on the ground. I'm telling you, when you broke, you think about all that. God said when you have enough, that's when you need to think like that. Because that's what's going to give you the fuel to actually save money. Right? Read on.
And when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need.
Right. Think upon poverty and need. And that's what we don't do, but we got to start doing that. That's what's going to give us the initiative to save our coins. Read on.
Verse 26.
Uh-huh.
From the morning until the evening, the time is changed.
Think about it. Think about the day as it go by, right? From morning to evening. And a lot of these days now, they go by fast as hell. The time always changing. The sun, it go up, and then it eases its way down for you know it is nighttime. Time is changing all throughout the day. Read on.
And all things are soon done before the Lord.
Likewise, that's how the Lord operates. That's how things happen in our lives. That's how the Lord causes things to happen in our lives. 1 minute you up like the sun. Next minute you down like the sunset. You understand? And it can happen like this. It can happen in a blink of an eye. Imagine you make your living, right, doing something that's physical. And you make a good living, but you get in a car wreck. Now you paralyzed. Now what? Now how you gonna make a living? You understand? These things happen out of nowhere. And a lot of us, unfortunately, we don't have things like insurance policies and things of that nature, not realizing that if you ain't, and a lot of people, they don't get those things because they can't afford it. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to save. So they can't afford an extra $100 a month to have, and you don't even need that much, right? If you broke and you really just need a little something to at least cover your funeral if you died in the next few years. It don't take nothing but $10 a month, $20 a month. But Jake be putting it off. Jake ain't worried about that. Like, man, hey, listen. All things are soon done before the Lord. It can happen in any single one of us in any given second. For real. It can happen right now. Real talk. So we got to be mindful of these things. We got to remember, hey, the sun be up for a little while, but it go down soon. Before you know it, you take a nap, you look up, you don't see the sun no more. That's how your finances can be. That's how when situations happen out the blue, things can change instantly. So you got to have that in mind. And when you have that in mind, you will have the mindset to save your money, have some type of priority in terms of saving your money. All right? So from there, let's go to the article. Pull that up. Read.
What are savings? How to calculate your savings rate. Savings refers to the money that a person has left over after they subtract out their consumer spending from their disposable income over a given time period. Savings, therefore, represents a net surplus of funds for an individual or household after all expenses and obligations have been paid.
In other words, it's your net income that you done stacked up over a certain period of time, right? So say your net income, after all your expenses and all that was paid at the end of the month, you have $500 left over, right? But instead of spending it, you put it away. So after about 6 months, you working with 2,000 plus, right? That's savings. That's what that is. Read on.
Savings are kept in the form of cash or cash equivalents, example given, as bank deposits, which are exposed to no risk of loss, but also come with correspondingly minimal returns. Savings can be grown through investing, which requires that the money be put at risk, however.
Right. So due to that last sentence, so the first sentence is important when understanding what saving is. Saving, the root word of saving is safe, right? And it's going to get into that. But saving is dealing with little to no risk at all, right? That's why it's called saving. Your money is safe. Savings can be grown through investing, not to be confused with investing being saving. You understand? You could take an amount that you saved and invest it to grow that amount that you saved, but they are not the same thing. We're going to deal with that next time. You understand? But it's a difference. Some people get it confused or try to interchange it, but it's a difference. All right? So scroll down real quick. Scroll down. Understanding savings. Read that.
Understanding savings. Savings comprise the amount of money left over after spending. People may save for various life goals or aspirations, such as retirement, a child's college education, the down payment for a home or car, a vacation, or several other examples. Savings may commonly be earmarked for emergencies. For example, Sasha's monthly paycheck is $5,000. Expenses include a $1,300 rent payment, a $450 car payment, a $500 student loan payment, a $300 credit card payment, $250 for groceries, $75 for utilities, $75 for cell phone service, and $100 for gas. Since Sasha's monthly income is $5,000 and monthly expenses are $3,050, there is $1,950 left over as savings.
Right. That's if she save it, because she could blow it on the outfit if she want to. Right? But she has to make the conscious decision to save that leftover money. Right? Read on.
If Sasha maintains this excess as savings and later faces an emergency, there will be some money to live on while resolving the issue.
Exactly. Right? So think about it, right? Her monthly expenses came out to $3,050, and she had $1,950 left over. If she saved that $1,950 for 2 months, that would be over with her monthly expense. That'll be about $4,000, almost $4,000. It'd be $3,900, right? So if something happened that next month to where she didn't have no income for a month, she would, based on savings for 2 months, she would be able to live off of that without income for a whole month, right? So that's why we went over it last time too, dealing with emergency funds and things of that nature. You want to have enough money saved up at least for you to be able to survive for 3 months, right? That's the bare minimum. You want to have at least 3 months of life expenses, a monthly expenses, 3 months worth saved up for emergency purposes. That's where you start. But the goal for everybody should be 6 months, meaning don't stop at 3 months. That's when you got that, it's like, okay, you finally there. You understand? Good job. You finally an adult now. You got 3 months. You know, you care about your kids now. You love them now. All right? But the goal is to have at least, when you're sitting on 6 months of savings, meaning something happened and your income stopped for 6 months and you good, that's where you need to be. All right? That's what Esau understand. So from there, where we left off at? Resolving the issue? All right, so real quick, go to Genesis chapter 41. So what we're going to do real quick is show that there was always a custom or a practice, a principle of our forefathers, right? The things written aforetime was written for our learning. Our forefathers always understood the importance of saving because they knew of possible issues to come, right? So with that being said, it's part of us returning back to our heritage. As niggas, we lived check to check and want to rely on credit cards and loans and borrowing money in times of distress. You understand? Coming back to your heritage, you're supposed to tap in with the way your forefathers handled these things. Our forefathers implemented nationwide plans for emergencies, possible emergencies, right? Starting with us being in captivity. So read that, Genesis 41. So A lot of y'all should know this story. Been and taught your kids this story and things of that nature. But this is a very, very like Christian white people that be doing what they call them seminaries and stuff on finances. They always use this example as like a template or whatever for saving, right? 20%. You'll hear Esau Christian, Christian white people, they'll bring this out to apply it to their community. But this is a black man that thought of this. You understand? This is our forefather that had the intelligence to implement such a plan for for a future, hazard or danger that would later affect your finances, right? In other words, jumping ahead of the curve. Read what you got.
Verse 34.
29.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 29.
Come on.
Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land.
So the Lord revealed to Joseph, well, he revealed it to the Pharaoh, but in a riddle, in a parable of a dream. So he gave Joseph the wisdom to interpret this dream. And Joseph understood that 7 years, the 7 animals or whatever represented 7 years of plenteousness, right? Like we read about in Proverbs 21. Sirach 18, when you have enough, when you rich, etc. He knew that it would be 7 years of surplus, right? But after that 7 years, it will be 7 years of famine or great lack, right? Meaning you would, in today's terms, you would have things like inflation, food shortage, right? Prices skyrocketing, or certain things not being available at all whatsoever. So with that knowledge, with that understanding, Joseph came with the solution, right? Read on.
And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
Right, a man discreet and wise. And we dealt with that word discreet in the class about budgeting, right? It said a wise man will guide his affairs with discretion. You're going to be mindful of what comes in and what goes out if you have wisdom, right? So Joseph, he didn't know, I guess, that he was making reference to himself, because he ended up being the man that was wise and discreet and appointed over this office. And we're going to read about our forefathers always having treasurers set up as well, right? This is a treasurer or an accountant. That's the position that he ended up having. Read on.
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
Right, the 5th part means 20%. So of all the increase, all the plenteousness in these next 7 years, take 20% of the increase and lay it up. Read on.
And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities.
Come on.
And that food shall be for store.
For what?
For store.
So that's the biblical word for save. How we use the term save, the Bible uses the word store. It's the same thing. It's a synonym. So lay up the extra food in those 20% of all the food that grows in those 7 years of plenteousness. Lay it up for store. Read on.
To the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through famine.
So Joseph, for those that did not have that wisdom, or, because Pharaoh, if it wasn't for the certain, it was of the Lord to preserve the children of Israel. When you read later on down, that's what it was all about, right? But if Pharaoh didn't have a Joseph, and he just had a random dream, didn't know what the hell it meant, when that 7 years hit, it would have been a national emergency. You understand? It would have been a real deal emergency for everybody alive in Egypt in the surrounding areas, right? So Joseph, with the wisdom that he knew the same way that we understand prophecy, we see that the pestilence that came, we see his earthquakes in diverse places. We hear about the wars and rumors of wars. Guess what else is in that equation of what's going to happen in the last days? Famine, right? We watch the news. We see prices going up. We saw what happened with the ships not being able to dock because the truck driver shortage. We see those things happening. So we got the same wisdom. We should see famine is coming. You understand? So we, with our forefathers having this knowledge, we should be able to tap into that same intelligence and like, hey, we need the 20%. You understand? If we got it, if we got, a decent net income, we need to be putting 20% of everything we earn up. You understand? For the famine to come, because it's going to get real. All right? That's what our forefathers understood. Go to Sirach 29, verse 12. Sirach chapter 29 and verse 12.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 12.
Come on.
Shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction.
So remember, I stated the word store is a synonym for save. That's the biblical word for save. We had houses, right, set up to save. So instead of course, back then it wasn't cash. It wasn't all about gold and silver, even though that was also put in the storehouses as well. But they stored food, they stored wine, they stored oil, they stored different resources that we would use on a daily basis or the cheap things in life, right? So God says, shut up alms in thy storehouses. Alms is a spare amount that you can give. Shut that up in your storehouses, meaning in your savings, and it shall deliver you from affliction or from emergency. God dropped that gem in the Bible because we all going to go through affliction. You understand? And it can happen out of nowhere in a quick second. All it takes is for the white man to call you and be like, hey, we appreciate your services, but we've decided to move on. You understand? That's all it takes. And if you're an entrepreneur, all it takes is for, another pandemic to sweep through, right? A natural disaster to come. I'm telling you, anything could happen to halt your business, bring your business to a screeching halt. So ain't nobody safe from sudden change of financial circumstances. You understand? But if you got alms in your storehouses, right, meaning you have money and different things put up, money saved, you'll be delivered from the coming affliction. Read on.
It shall fight for thee against thine enemies, better than a mighty shield and strong spear.
Right, so it's a weapon against adversity, right? Our forefathers understood that. Let's show that. Go to 2 Chronicles chapter 11. 2 Chronicles chapter 11 and verse 5.
The book of 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 5.
Come on.
And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities for defense in Judah.
Right, so he built cities for defense in Judah. Let's see what he put in these cities. Jump down to verse 11.
Verse 11.
Come on.
And he fortified the strongholds and put captains in them, and store of victual and of oil and wine.
Y'all see that? So he built cities, right? And at this time, you had rumors of wars. You had, even our own people, the Northern Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to, come up against, you know what I'm saying? So he knew the wisdom in him was like, okay, you're going to have to do this. You got to build your cities for this. Make sure you put not only military defense, but storehouses for defense against possible famine, right? So we're going to store up corn. We're going to store up oil. We're going to store up different victuals. or what we would call groceries. You understand? Put those in storehouses, put those away for a time something happened like war. You understand? And we don't got to trade, we're not able to trade with certain nations. The economy always get affected by war. You understand? So he developed cities of store against those times, those possible times to come. All right? From there, go to 2 Chronicles 32:27.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 32, verse 27.
Come on.
And Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor.
Right, so he had much. Now remember, the scriptures say, when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need. So let's see how Hezekiah got down. Read on.
And he made himself treasuries for silver and for gold and for precious stones and for spices and for shields and for all manner of pleasant jewels.
Right, a treasury, in other words, that's an account. You understand? He made accounts for these things. Read on.
Storehouses also for the increase of corn and wine and oil.
So he made sure he made storehouses. He wasn't like, hey, y'all, we got all this, let's eat it up. Turn up. No. Let's make sure we establish storehouses, because this may not last forever. It ain't going to last forever. You understand? All things are soon done before the Lord. In the blink of an eye, this all can change. All this increase can come to a halt. So let's make sure we build storehouses. Finish that verse.
And stalls for all manner of beasts and coats for flocks.
Right. So we also made sure that we, sheltered certain animals and flocks, because it's a time where they're prosperous as well, as opposed to other time. When a famine hit, them animals be dropping dead. You understand? For real. So even a pestilence, a disease can come through, and then all of that. So we made sure that we made storehouses to preserve all of those things for possible times to come, right, of adversity. From there, 2 Maccabees 3, verse 4. Now this story right here is kind of long, but it's kind of interesting. So we're going to read the whole thing. All right, 2 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 4.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 4.
And also showing that in terms of us as a nation, doing that, having a nationwide savings was very, very important, not only for us, but also to the Lord. You understand? And we're going to show y'all that. That's why it's important for you to give alms. When you give alms, it ain't just for IUIC Arkansas, because we, as IUIC Arkansas, give alms to IUIC. You understand? For the nation, there is a nationwide pot. You understand? And that's not something that we just made up. That's biblical. The Lord commanded these things to happen, right? We had to do these things in history. Coming back to our history and our repentance, we got to go back to that, right? And that's what we're doing as a nation. Well, read what you got.
But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Thracius, who then was governor of Celesyria and Phoenice.
Right. So Simon, the Benjamite, a real buster, he fell out with the high priest Onias and went to the enemy and gave the enemy intel. We gonna read about it. Read on.
And told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hands.
You see this damn devil, the damn sellout, man. And we done had niggas do that at IUIC. Niggas that was put up as the treasurer of the school, lead the truth, and go and tell people how much money we had in the account. And I'm telling you, it's nothing new. You understand? But this buster, that's what he did. He went to the white man. He said, man, you just don't know how much gold they got in Jerusalem. You know, man, they got infinite sums of money. They got their bag. And guess what? The king can take all that. For real. Go, hey, I'm telling you, give them the word. I'm telling you, y'all can come up off Jerusalem. Read on.
Now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money.
Right, so the king sent forth his treasurer to go and collect the money from Jerusalem. Read on.
So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Celesyria and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose.
Right, so he was coming to take that infinite sum of money from our people because of the intelligence that Simon gave him. Read on.
And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed.
Right, so the treasurer is sent by the king. He chopping it up with the high priest like, hey, I already know what y'all got. I know y'all got this, this, and this, and this. Trust me, I know. So go on, come on with it. What's up with it? Read on.
Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children.
So I'm telling you, bro, niggas, man, when you leave, that's why you go reprobate. You become void of judgment. Just because you see a certain balance in the account, you understand. For example, the school. Let's say we had a good size of money in the account, right? And of course, the bills paid or whatever the case may be. It's not just about paying the bills at the school. You got brothers and sisters, like I talked about, some people neglect insurance. How expensive you think a funeral is for somebody that don't got life insurance, somebody drop dead? You know what I'm saying? How we gonna make sure they got the proper burial? Who gonna come out 15, 20 racks? Just pulling out of thin air. You understand? And that's why I say for the relief of widows and fatherless children, right? You got women that'll be faced with that. You understand? They no longer got that provider of the household. And he could die. So who gonna take care of her now? Who gonna make sure them kids continue to get the education that they've been able to get? Who gonna make sure food stay on their table? Who gonna look out for her to give her time to be able to get a job and get on her feet? You understand? That's why as a nation the Lord established, set up storehouses. And guess what? In times where we was obedient to the Lord, like you read in verse 1, this is the time where we kept God's laws. So the Lord will bless our storehouses with surplus. And we made sure that we kept a large amount for the relief of widows and fatherless children. All right? So just in case something happened, we'll be able to take care of them. Read on.
And that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as their wicked Simon had misinformed.
Right, so some of this large sum of money also pertain to a certain man. This is his. So Simon, that nigga that misinformed you. You understand? It ain't like what you think it is, just in numerous son. We just got laid up to just ball out and bathe in when we get bored. No, that ain't what this is. All right, all of this money we got is for a purpose or belongs to an individual. You understand? That's what this money is for. Read on.
The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold.
Read.
And that it was altogether impossible that such wrongs should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place.
That did what?
That committed it to the holiness of the place.
That's what you doing when you giving alms. You committing that money to the holiness of the place. You understand that it's spiritual. Remember, the scriptures say alms make an atonement for sin, right? It's not about just a physical, okay, I'm contributing to the paying of a bill. No, it's spiritual. You being a father to the fatherless. You understand? You being a hedge to the widow. That's what you're doing when you giving your alms. We never know in that day where we'll have to take care of things like that. But that's what you're contributing to. And that's what the Lord loves to see. And for people, for those that are spiritual, that's how they look at it. When they give their money to the leadership or the treasurers, right? They are committing that money to the holiness of the place. So for a white man in this situation, the enemy, the heathen, to just come and just feel like he could just take it on night is like, nah, it ain't finna go like that. That's impossible. you finna cause a real deal, real deal problem. These people ain't get this money for a heathen to come and take it. Read on.
And to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world.
Honored over all the world, including your king. They honor this temple over that. Read on.
But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury.
Hey, Heliodorus, like, I hear you, bro, but I'm here to follow orders. King sent me to take all that. So I hear you, but I need that. Come on with it. Read on. So he coming with armed men. You know what I'm saying? He ain't just solo dolo finna enforce that they just give it up. No, he there with some armed men. It's either we gonna do this the easy way or the hard way, Onias. Read on.
So at the day which he appointed, he entered in to order this matter. Wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city.
Right. So when the people saw that they was finna really take all of that, it was agonizing to the people. Read.
But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in their priest vestments, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to be kept.
That made a what?
Made a law concerning things given to be kept.
God made you can read about it in Exodus 22. God made a law that we saved money as a nation. You understand? It's in the law. So if you don't know how to save money, you really need to bethink yourself. You really need to repent. If you ain't giving alms, you need to repent. God gave laws to enforce that we saved money as a nation of people. And how you gonna give to the nation if you're not able to save money in your respective household? You understand? That's a principle that our forefathers not only kept but enforced. Right? Read on.
That they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept.
So the priests in our prayers, like, Lord, you made this a law for us to give for the relief for the widows and the fatherless children and things of the temple and all of that. Lord, you gave this law. So, hey, we trust in you to keep it safe from the hands of the heathen. Protect our savings, dear Lord. Read on.
Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind.
So I'm telling you, we was going through it. It was just the mere threat of our savings being robbed like that. I'm telling you, it was very agonizing. Imagine you had, and that's why, the scriptures say never trust your enemy, but hell, you can't trust niggas either. The scripture in Matthew 6, it talk about lay not up trust on earth, thieves break in and steal. So you could be one of them, oh, I don't trust the bank. And you just put all your money in a mattress. You come home, ain't nothing in your room but some pillows and some sheets. Mattress gone. You know what I'm saying? For real. So be very mindful. But just imagine, you put 20 bands in a mattress. You came home. Your crackhead cousin didn't, you know what I'm saying? Then took the damn mattress. Imagine the agony, 20 bands. Imagine the agony. We talking about a large sum of money that was for the entire nation. For all the Jews. And the priests, they was going through it. They was going through it. Read on.
For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart. Others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the women, girt with sackcloth under their breasts, abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates, and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows. And all, holding their hands toward heaven, made supplication. Then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. Then they called upon the Almighty Lord to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them.
Right. So it's going into detail. Like, I'm telling you, anybody that would have saw how the people was, the contrition of spirit, how they sad, they crying to the Lord, they breaking down, everybody hitting their knees, spreading their hands toward heaven. It was a heartbreaking, scene. It was a heartbreaking setting to witness. You understand? But that's what they did. They had their broken and contrite spirit, and they prayed to the Lord, like, hey, Lord, keep these savings secure from the heathen that's trying to endanger it. Right? Read on.
Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed.
But the heathen didn't give a damn about their prayers. But watch this, though. Read on.
Now, as he was there, present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits, and the prince
So
of
he
all.
was present with this guard. I told y'all he wasn't just by himself. He had armed guards with him. Finna take it. Right? But while he was present about the what?
About the treasury.
Because that's where our money was kept. We had a national treasury. Right? But read on.
The Lord of spirits and the prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God, and fainted, and were sore afraid.
So an apparition, in other words, that's like a ghost. It's paranormal appearance. You understand? So why the heathen think he finna take the money? The Lord caused a ghost to come on the scene, or multiple. Watch this, read on.
For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him.
A what?
Terrible rider upon him.
So this is, you know what I'm saying? This is supernatural now. A horse with a terrible rider on it. Read on.
And adorned with a very fair covering.
Uh-huh.
And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold.
Uh-huh.
Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes.
So the Lord sent spirits out of nowhere to whoop Heliodorus' ass to protect the savings of the nation of Israel. For real. This really happened. Willow Side say this is a true story. For real. Read on.
And Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, and put him into a litter.
Uh-huh.
Thus him that lately came with a great train, and with all his guard into.
See, them details went early in the chapter. It said he came with a great train and with all his guard. He came with a militia to take their money. And guess what? The Lord sent spirits to kick their ass. Read on.
Into the said treasury they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they.
What you gonna do with a damn? What a sword gonna do to a spirit? You understand? Just imagine they swinging their sword trying to fight back. It's going through the damn ghost. The ghost weapon working on you, but your weapon ain't working on him. You know what I'm saying? For real, this really happened. Read on.
And manifestly they acknowledged the power of God.
Mm-hmm.
For he, by the hand of God, was cast down, and lay speechless without all hope of life.
Damn, he thought he was finna die. Read.
But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble.
So the temple was full of fear and trouble of losing the treasury. Read.
when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness.
Right. So the people, hey, they turned up. They sent up them prayers in that contrite spirit, and the Lord came through to protect the savings that we had put up. Right. So you could drop that. Go back to the article. So just to show, not only did we have a treasury as a nation, it was given as a law to save as a nation, but the Lord, you know, hey, he sent spirits to protect that thing. So it was always a very serious thing in the sight of the Lord. So it will behoove us to take it serious as individuals. All right, go back to the article. Pick up if one.
If one is unable to maintain savings, they may be said to be living paycheck to paycheck.
Right, the average nigga living paycheck to paycheck. Come on.
If such a person experiencing an emergency, there is often not enough money saved up to live on, and they may risk falling into debt or bankruptcy.
Right. That's a story of a lot of our lives. For real. It didn't happen to me plenty of times in the damn truth. All right, scroll down. Scroll down. Read that.
Types of savings accounts. There are different types of savings accounts offered by banks that come with different features or limitations. Note that all bank savings vehicles come with Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, of up to $250,000 per depositor per institution.
Right. So the money is insured. Say somebody robbed the bank, you understand your money is covered. All right, through the federal, what they call it? Well, it's up there, but what they call it, the federal reserves. Ain't that what it's called? I don't know. All right, read on.
Savings accounts. A savings account pays interest on cash not needed for daily expenses, but available for an emergency. Deposits and withdrawals are made online, by phone, mail, or at a physical bank branch or ATM. Interest rates on savings accounts tend to be low, but are often higher than on checking accounts. The best savings accounts can usually be found online because they'll pay a higher interest rate. Online-only accounts may be examples of high-yield savings accounts, which can offer as much as 20 to 25 times higher interest on deposits than the national average.
Now, be mindful. A saving account is not an investment account. All right, and it's going to get into it later in the article, but that 20 to 25% higher interest is basically, instead of the bank with the 0.02% rate, you might get a 0.8, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. It's still going to be low because it's a savings account. You understand? However, when it's online only, meaning it's not at a tangible bank in your area, they'll offer you higher interest rates for your money to gain because of the lack of inconvenience, you not being able to physically pull up on it. All right? But anyway, get that in Luke chapter 19, verse 23. A saving account, it is not a new thing in the earth, right? Putting your money in a place or a bank where it gain interest by sitting in that bank, that's not new. That is an ancient thing, and Christ spoke on it out of his own mouth. Read what you got.
The book of Luke, chapter 19, verse 23.
Come on.
Wherefore, then gavest not thou my money into the bank.
Into the what?
Into the bank.
Read.
That at my coming I might have required mine own with usury.
That word usury mean interest. You understand? Now, we understand it's a parable about us, using our talents that the Lord give us, but in the surface level of the parable, right? There was something that was understood, that terminology, bank, interest, all that was there. You could at least put that talent in a bank. It would have got some little percentage of interest on it. You understand? So that's for y'all, shoe boxers, mattress savers. You know what I'm saying? I feel you, never trust your enemy, blah, 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 blah. But hey, Christ said, look, you could at least put it in the bank. I got a little interest on that thing. You know what I'm saying? So you should, throw your money in a save. If you're saving money, you put it in a savings account. It's by sitting in the bank, they're gonna add a little bit more to it over time. All right? It's biblical. Go back to the article. Jump down to savings accounts. Money market, my bad. Scroll down. Money market account.
Money market accounts. A money market account, MMA, is an interest-bearing account at a bank or credit union, not to be confused with a money market fund. MMAs often pay a higher interest rate than regular passbook savings accounts and also include check writing and debit card privileges. These also can come with restrictions that make them less flexible than a regular checking account.
So a money market is like a sweet spot in between a checking and a savings account, right? It got more perks than a savings account because it got a higher interest rate because it is dealing with, stocks and bonds and stuff like that, right? But it's more accessible than a savings account. Like some of them, they offer debit cards, check writing, like you can deposit easier. It's easier accessible than a savings account typically, right? But there is certain, restrictions, right? Like, for example, I got a money market account. The lowest you can put in there is $2,500. You can't just, I'm gonna get a money market account, get some interest on my money, put a little $500. Nah, you gotta have a large sum of money. You understand? And guess what? If something happen and you gotta dip into it, you go under that minimum balance, they gonna hit your ass with a fee. You understand? So meaning, because this didn't happen to me before, if the minimum is $2,500. You done had the account for 2-3 months. Your balance gonna be like $25 and $2,504. So by it sitting in there, you know $4 a whole damn 2-piece in a biscuit from Popeye. You know what I'm saying? Just by sitting there. But guess what? You take out of that, it go under that 25. If it's not restored by the end of that month, they gonna take $20, sometimes $40 off. You understand? So it basically you gotta be disciplined dealing with an account like that. All right? But it's good as far as savings because it's easily accessible and it's higher interest rate. So if you got the money and you got the discipline, I would suggest getting a money market account as opposed to a regular savings account. But you gotta have a certain amount of money and you gotta be mindful. If you wanted to take a lot out of it, you make sure you put it back by the end of the month or you're gonna be in trouble. All right? Go back. Certificate of deposits.
Certificates of deposits. A certificate of deposit, CD, limits access to cash for a certain period in exchange for a higher interest rate. Deposit terms range from 3 months to 5 years. The longer the term, the higher the interest rate. CDs have early withdrawal penalties that can erase interest earned, so it is best to keep the money in the CD for the entire term. Shopping around for the best CD rate is critical if you want to maximize your investment.
All right, so a CD, right? For example, say it'd be like, hey, you put your money, and if people do this for insurance policies and stuff too. You have your money sitting here for at least 5 years, we guarantee that it's going to get 15% interest at the end of that 5 years. But if you hit year 3, you at rock bottom and you got to pull it out, we going to charge you 10% of what's in there as opposed to you getting it plus the 20% interest. We going to take from you. It say erase interest earned, but a lot of the penalties end up with you taking an L. You losing a portion of that money. You understand? So you got to be mindful. All right, that's why I say shopping around for the best CD rate is critical if you want to maximize your investment. And I know, Jake, we be at a bank. Our mama set us up with a bank when we was 16. We started working, and we go to that bank. We know the teller at the bank and all that. We just do everything with that bank. But I'm telling you, it's a lot of different places out there, you know what I'm saying, especially online. You do your research. Shout out Officer Benign Tupelo. He always harp on that. Research. You understand? Do your research. before you go out and get these things, because it's better. It's a lot of them that's better than others. It's not a flat certificate of deposit rate across the board of banking. You understand? It's some that's better than others. So do your research. Get that in Sirach 37. Sirach 37 and 16. All right. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 37, verse 16.
Come on.
Let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action.
Right. So don't just willy-nilly, oh, stupid about damn, that's a good thing, let me go get it. Like, make sure you consider, take all things into consideration, get counsel, hit up somebody that got one. You know what I'm saying? Inquire, make diligent inquisition about these things for you just willy-nilly just go and do it. All right, because I done made the mistakes in the past. So from there, go back to the article and keep reading how to calculate.
How to calculate your savings rate. One savings rate is the percentage of disposable personal income that is kept rather than spent on consumption or obligations. Say that your net income is $25,000 a year after taxes, for example, your disposable income. And over the course of the year, you also spend $24,000 in consumption, bills, and other expenditures. Your total savings are $1,000. Dividing savings by disposable income yields a saving rate of 4%, equals 1,000 divided by 25,000 times 100.
Right. So that's how you're able to calculate your savings, right? If your net income, meaning the money you got left over after you spend, right, is 1,000, you know, if it was 25 and it's 24,000, blah, 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 whatever, that would equal out to 4%, right? Some people savings rate gonna be higher than others, but that person was able to save 4% of their income, all right, their net income. Read on.
Savings versus investing.
So that it says the average personal savings rate in the U.S. is 5%. That's low. All right. But it is what it is. A lot of us, we want to make sure we look a certain way, we dress a certain way, we live a certain way. We want to impress people where we drive, where we live, what we wear, right? And for that reason, we spend money. We be spending a lot of that net income, and it don't be a lot left over. The average person only save 5%. Listen, it's truth. We should be a lot less worried about how we look with it's in terms of like designer and splurging. You understand? We ain't going out on the weekend. We in uniformity on the set. We're in the same thing every weekend. You know what I'm saying? For real. So we should be a lot less consumed by those things. But some of us brothers and sisters got the worldly spirit. We still be buying the new retros when they drop. You know what I'm saying? We still, you know, and I ain't hating, do your thing. But if you only saving 5% of your net income, oh, hey, you know, knowing what's to come, you should be want to be like your forefather Joseph, trying to put back at least 20%. And in order to do that, you got to cut back on certain stuff, right? Things that are not necessities. We're going to get into that, but keep reading.
Savings versus investing. People sometimes use the word savings and investing interchangeable. For instance, saving for retirement in a 401k plan, but this usage is technically incorrect.
Right. So 401k, that's not a savings account. That's an investment account. Now, it is not the best invest. We're going to get into that. The investing class is going to probably be the best one. But if you don't understand budgeting and saving, don't watch the investment class and then go and start putting your money here and there. I'm telling you. But it's a lot of different investment strategies and platforms and programs that's better, because a lot of times all we know is a damn 401k. You understand? But some people look at that like that's a savings account. It's not a savings account. All right? It's an investment account. Read on.
Retirement saving is more accurately investing, since money put away in these accounts is used to purchase securities such as stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. When money is invested, it is at risk of loss.
Right.
But
It is at risk of loss. So that's for in a 401k, when you put your money in that, it is at risk of loss. Same thing with an annuity. If I'm not, we gonna get into that too next time. And a lot of people, if they monitoring it, they'll get the dang. It went up, but then it went down, and that's to be expected. You understand? That's to be expected. That's what happens when you invest money. If it's a long term investment, it's not gonna just stay up the whole time. You understand? But it's a long term investment for a reason. All right? Well, read on.
but that risk is offset by positive expected returns over time.
Exactly. All right. So, it's wisdom in it, especially certain things. 401k is a safe investment account. That's why people mistake it for a savings account, because it's very safe for an investment account. All right, read on.
Savings, in contrast, are by definition safe from any potential loss.
Right, a savings account, it's not going up or down. It's safe. It is what it is. All right, you have a little bitty interest rate, but sitting in there, you can put a little bit on it. You know what I'm saying? But in order to get a good return on it from letting it sit for a while, you got to put it in an investment account. And it's going to be at risk of loss, right? But the positive expected returns are much greater, all right? So, just imagine you put $25 a week in an account for 30 years. You do the math, that's already a lot of money, but you're going to see damn near double that depending on the account. You understand? Depending on what interest rate you got with that investment account. A saving account, that 25 a week times 30 times 52, that's going to be what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got to worry about losing nothing. All right, read on.
Additionally, savings are highly liquid and available for immediate use. Example given, using a debit card to make a purchase. Investments, on the other hand, must first be sold into usable cash.
Right. So for anybody that has put their money in investments accounts, like for example, Acorns, I'm telling you, certain investment accounts you can use to save money. However, it's not an actual savings account. So when you in that position where you got to withdraw, you'll get that message like, all right, it should hit your account in 3 to 6 days. You understand? Why is it telling you ain't gonna, that money, you looking at the balance, it's right there. That's how much it's telling you is in there, but it's gonna take 3 to 6 days to land in your account as a withdrawal. Why? Because they have to sell their money. They have to sell that stock or whatever the case may be. So it's not like liquid. That's actually there like a savings account. What you put in there, that's what you put in there. It's there. You understand? An investment account, you subject to wait a little second before they're able to come off of it. All right? Because it's out there. It's being exchanged. All right, read on. Was that it?
No, we stopped there.
All right,
Okay.
come on.
This can take some time, and you may incur transaction costs. Investments, by definition, entail some sort of long-term time horizon to allow the money to grow and appreciate.
Right. So investments, that we're going to get into next time, entail some sort of long-term horizon to allow the money to grow and appreciate. And that's why I'm telling Jake, they stay away from that. They be looking for the get-rich-quick stuff and all of that, and like, damn, I can't touch the money for 10 years. You know how fast 10 years go by? Yeah, you understand? I've been in the truth for 7. I remember my first day like yesterday. You understand? I'm married with kids and all that. I remember I was a 19-year-old, little young, skinny, with braces and twists. Man, I done had long dreads, afro, haircut, waves, all that. And it seemed like a blink of an eye. You understand? So don't be like, dang, it's going to take 10 to 15 years to see a return. That's how Jake be messing up. And we don't get into the investing and stuff like that till we in our 30s and 40s until we finally got the wisdom like, damn, yeah, that do make sense. Yeah, we'd have missed out. If you would have did it when you was in your early 20s, you would have been able to retire in your mid-40s or your early 50s instead of 60, 65, like the average American that is only saving 5% of their net income. You know what I'm saying? For real, you get on this stuff early, like a lot of people on their wave. It's called FIRE. The acronym is FIRE. It's called, it stands for something. I forgot what the F and the I stand for, but the RE stand for retire early. It's like something, retire early. I'm gonna get into that next time. All right, but anyway, it's a wave a lot of people on, but you can set yourself up if you get you a good, stable career where you know even if you lose your job, it's a field to where you can bounce back with another one and you can safely project that your income will be this over time. And you can set it up to where you always got a certain amount going to this account that you ain't gonna be able to pull from until 20 years later. You set that up, you 22. When you 42, hey, you still young. You know what I'm saying? You still got energy. You can still go hoop. You can still go swim. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? You sitting on $1 million. For real. You got $1 million, you can retire. You get you some properties. You understand? Get you a little side business on or whatever. And you ain't got to do nothing but enjoy life. But we gotta, in order to get to that point, you gotta learn how to budget, you gotta learn how to save. All right, but anyway, let's go back to the article. Matter of fact, did we read Grow and Appreciate? Read that last sentence one more time.
This can take some time, and investments by definition entail some sort of long-term time horizon to allow the money to grow and appreciate.
All right, so go to Matthew 25:25. That's basically the difference between saving and investment. A saving account, that money is not going to grow and appreciate. You're actually going to lose technically because of inflation, right? So that's why, you got to build yourself up to the point where you can invest for your money to grow and appreciate, or you'll end up like this. Read what you got.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 25. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine.
Right. So this is the same parable we went to earlier where Christ told this man, hey, you could at least put it in the bank, put it in a savings account, because I could have got it with some interest on it. But he hid it in the earth. Like I said, a lot of Jake that be I don't trust the bank and all that, and they put it in a shoebox. You understand? It's not getting no type of interest. You saved it. It was safe. You hid it in the earth. You know what I'm saying? It was safe and secure. You didn't, you wasn't at risk of loss, but it didn't grow and appreciate, right? So that's the difference between saving and investing, all right? Now, from there, go back to the article. Jump down to types of savings. What are the types of savings? That right there.
What are the types of savings? Savings is essentially cash. So there is only one type of savings in that respect. However, you can choose to keep your cash savings in various places, such as under the mattress or in a bank account. Bank accounts offer several types of savings products, from standard deposit accounts to checking and money market accounts or CDs.
Right, which we covered earlier. Go ahead.
How much will $1,000 in savings grow in a year? It depends where you keep the savings. If it is literally under the mattress, you'll have exactly $1,000 a year from now. and it may be worth less due to inflation.
Right, which I just basically said. Go ahead.
If you put your money into a high yield savings account, currently paying around 0.87% annually as of May 2022.
Right. So that's a high yield savings account. That's why saving is not to be confused with investing. A high yielding savings account is 0.87% annually per year. So you're going to see an almost 1% increase in your money in that savings account. And that's a high yielding one. You understand? Well, read on.
You'd earn $8.70 after 12 months. A 1-year CD may pay slightly more, say 0.96%, but your money will also be locked up for the entire 12 months, after which time you'd earn $9.60.
Right. So that's how much $1,000 of savings will grow in a year. All right. Now, mind you, if that's all you got, that Lord, because typically when it comes to investing, putting $1,000 at risk of loss is stupid. So low amounts of money like that, basically in a single digit thousands, basically, right? You dealing with savings accounts, right? And you gonna yield a few dollars annually. All right. So you gotta, your money gotta be up to go into investing. So for us that ain't really got it like that, you starting out with savings accounts. All right? For real. So like I said, I suggest money market accounts. They more easily accessible than savings accounts. You just got to be more disciplined with it, because it will be penalties if you can't keep a certain amount in there by the end of the month, right? A CD is going to be a slightly higher, well, depending on how long it's for, but it's going to be, higher than the average interest rate in a high yielding savings account or whatever, but it's locked. You literally can't touch it in emergency, or you'll suffer loss from that money. You understand? So money market account, you got 1, 2, 3, 4,000 you trying to put it in a money market account. My suggestion. All right, go back to the article. But that's how much you'll be looking at as far as your money growing annually, around anywhere from $5 to $10. All right, read.
How can I save $1,000 fast? The best way to increase savings is to cut down on costs.
Is to what?
Cut down on costs.
Right, and that's what we got a lot of issue doing. Read on.
Keeping a budget and not spending loosely can help. If you spend $6 on a fancy coffee every morning before work, for example, you can buy a cheaper $1 cup of Joe instead. Say you work 200 days out of the year, you've just saved $1,000.
Scroll down. Was that it? All right, so yeah, so hold on, let's examine that. It say, if we go back, put that on the screen, read that,
The last sentence.
yeah, if you spend.
If you spend $6 on a fancy coffee every morning before work, for example, you can buy a cheaper $1 cup of Joe instead.
Or in other words, right, shopping great value instead of that name brand you grew up liking and loving, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, just basically humbling yourself. Like, you need to save money. Stop getting the whole, the number 8 combo meal, and start messing with the dollar menu. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? By the end of the year, all them days that you got the dollar menu instead of the number, whatever, the full thing, that'll end up by the end of the year. It's not like it's going to be on a chart, but the reason why you would have that certain money in your account was because of that decision you made. You saved $1,000. You understand? So when you be broke, you be thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? But when right now you good, go on think about it now. Go on start humbling down now. All right, dumb it down now. For real. From there, go to Sirach 41:14. So it say the best way to increase savings is to cut down on costs. That requires this. Read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 41, verse 14.
Come on.
My children, keep discipline in peace.
Keep what?
Keep discipline in peace.
So the Lord commands us to keep discipline in peace, right? In order to have a peace of mind, peace in your life, financial peace, you got to be disciplined. Point blank, period. You got to have the discipline to deny yourself spending unnecessary excess amounts of money, whether it's a $2-3 difference in what you normally spend on this thing that you normally buy. You understand that $2-3, decrease and deciding to get that instead of that will go a long way down the line. You understand? So you got to discipline yourself. You just because you go to the store don't mean you got to get some candy. It don't mean you got to get a debit card. It don't mean you got to. I'm telling you, travel with some brothers. It's like just because we stopped at the gas station, they got to get a soda. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to get a Mountain Dew, brother. You don't got to do that. You understand? But I'm telling you, with this stuff take discipline. It take discipline. You got to learn how to deny yourself. All right? So from there, go to the video now. Go to the video. Play the first time stamp. So this Esau, I don't like playing Esau and all that, but it is what it is. It's decent information. Play that.
Help people build wealth, create financial freedom, and make more money so that they can be happier or just have more freedom and the ability to spend money how they want to spend it. So let's get into this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel though. All right, so let's get started. Now, there's really three first initial things that we need to do before we even consider saving money. And the first one is we need to set these overall kind of broad goals to understand where we want to be 12 months from now, 5 years from now, and 20 years from now. Just general ideas of do you want to be a multimillionaire, or maybe you just want to have enough money to pay for family vacations. You just want to have a nice cushion of cash or investments saved up so that you're not struggling to pay your bills. So decide where you want to stand there. Do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to be Warren Buffett? Or do you want to not set goals as high? Because it's important to know that so that you can kind of plan for the future and know how serious you have to be about saving money in order to reach those goals. Now, this...
All right, pause. All right, so basically setting goals, right? And once again, we're going to go to the scripture to show that our forefathers took initiatives to save based on goals that they had. A lot of reasons why a lot of us don't save because we ain't got no goals. We just going through the motions. Like, I ain't got no vacation I'm planning for. Hell, I ain't heard nothing about no quest. Another quest they doing, so I ain't. You know what I'm saying? Man, look, we got Passover every year. We got Tabernacle. Everybody should have goals in this truth that require some type of initiative to save. All right? But when our forefathers, they had things that they had in their plans, they took initiatives to save. Let's read about it. First Chronicles 29, verse 1. First Chronicles 29:1.
The book of First Chronicles, chapter 29, verse 1. Furthermore, David the king said unto all the congregation, Solomon, my son, whom alone God hath chosen, is yet young and tender, and the work is great. For the palace is not for man, but for the Lord God.
Right, so David had it in his heart to build a palace for the Lord, right? Read on.
Now I have prepared with all my might for the house of my God the gold for things to be made of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and the brass for things of brass, the iron for things of iron, and wood for things of wood, onyx stones and stones to be set, glistering stones, and of diverse colors, and all manner of precious stones, and marble stones in abundance.
So David when he went to war with these nations and got all these spoils and reaped increase from all of these things and had allies that would bring these things as gifts, because he had the goal to build a house for the Lord, he stored a lot of these things, right? Because he had the vision. I want the temple to had this laid out. I want the cherubims with the, you know what I'm saying? He had it in his mind. So in order for that vision to come to pass, he had to save these different things for that to be able to come to pass in the future. Read on.
Moreover, because I have set my affection to the house of my God, I have of mine own proper good of gold and silver, which I have given to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house.
So he had his personal savings account for that specific endeavor. You understand? He had that out of his own income, per se. Read on.
Even 3,000 talents of gold, of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver, to overlay the walls of the houses withal.
So that's what he had out of his personal savings to contribute to the building of the house of the Lord. Read on.
The gold for things of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and for all manner of work to be made by the hands of artificers, and who then is willing to consecrate his service this day unto the Lord.
So he was like, who else willing to pitch in, right, on this great endeavor to build the house of the Lord, right? So you have brothers, you know what I'm saying, step up and also pitch into the savings for this endeavor. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
O Lord our God, all this store.
All this what?
All this store.
Remember, store is interchangeable with savings. Oh, Lord God, all these savings, read on,
that we have prepared to build thee an house for thine holy name, cometh of thine hand, and is all thine own.
Right, so he was like, by your hand, by your ability, you granted us to be able to bring forth all of these savings to build this house for you, right? But that just show, and it's also heavy because Solomon, his son, he didn't have to labor and save up, you know what I'm saying, to build the house. His father did. And that go into what we were talking about last time, about trust funds and college fund, different things of that. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. You should be setting your children up like David did Solomon. You know what I'm saying? David literally set Solomon up to where all Solomon had to do was step in and play quarterback. Like, hey, you just get this money to them people over here. They gonna build this. And you know what I'm saying? All the products and resources, all that was there because David saved for it because he had the goal for the house of the Lord to be built. All right. So from there, go to 2 Chronicles 24, verse 4. And a lot of us can relate. Remember, you might have a vision to build your dream home. You know what I'm saying? You might have that vision. Guess what you got to do for that to come to fruition? You got to save now. All right, read on.
2 Chronicles chapter 24, verse 4.
Come on.
And it came to pass after this that Joash was minded to repair the house of the Lord.
So generations later, the house of the Lord that Solomon ended up building based off David in his conglomerate savings, that same house generations later needed reparations. It needed to be repaired, right? Read on.
And he gathered together the priests and the Levites and said to them, go out unto the cities of Judah and gather of all Israel money to repair the house of your God from year to year, and see that ye hasten the matter. Howbeit, the Levites hastened it not.
The Levites was slothful. They ain't see the vision. So they was slothful with going and making a collection of money or savings to be able to repair the house of the Lord. Read on.
And the king called for Jehoiada the chief, and said unto him, why hast thou not required of the Levites to bring in out of Judah and out of Jerusalem the collection, according to the commandment of Moses, the servant of the Lord, and of the congregation of Israel, for the tabernacle of witness?
Right. So Moses, remember, during the time of Moses in the wilderness, they had to build a tabernacle. In order for that tabernacle to be built, they had to collect money from every individual. And it was a decree, it was a law for a certain amount to be given per household. So this king put out the same law, and the priest was slack in enforcing it. You understand? So he getting on the head man, the head priest, like, hey, what the hell are your God slothful with this law? You understand? Read on.
For the sons of Athaliah, that wicked woman, had broken up the house of God.
Right, that's how it suffered damage. That's why I need to repair, because Athaliah wicked ass had damaged it. Her idolatrous self. She damaged the house of the Lord. Read.
And also all the dedicated things of the house of the Lord did they bestow upon Balaam.
Right, to an idol, to a devil. Read.
And at the king's commandment, they made a chest and set it without at the gate of the house of the Lord.
So the priests finally got their mind right, and they set a chest outside of the gate. Read on.
And they made a proclamation through Judah and Jerusalem to bring in to the Lord the collection that Moses, the servant of God, laid upon Israel in the wilderness.
So they enforced the same collection principle amount that was enforced in Exodus chapter 30, all right, to collect funds to build the tabernacle. Read.
And all the princes and all the people rejoiced and brought in and cast into the chest until they had made an end.
So everybody contributed. Read on.
Now it came to pass that at what time the chest was brought unto the king's office by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much money, the king's scribe and the high priest's officer came and emptied the chest and took it and carried it to his place again. Thus they did day by day and gathered money in abundance.
Right. So these people, remember, these are individual households making contributions. So all of these people had a net income, right, in which they were able to pull a certain amount that wasn't a part of their expenses to give toward the national savings in order for this vision of the house of the Lord being repaired to come to pass. They did this on a daily basis, and they reaped a lot of money. Read on.
And the king and Jehoiada gave it to such as did the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and hired masons and carpenters to repair the house of the Lord, and also such as wrought iron and brass to mend the house of the Lord. So the workmen wrought, and the work was perfected by them, and they set the house of God in his state and strengthened it.
Right. So, for example, if you got the vision to renovate your house, right? Like my mama, they renovating their house right now, piece by piece. I was there last week in the kitchen, had the same old countertops I washed dishes on. They had already painted it, so it was looking like, okay. I went back today, you know what I'm saying, to drop off some and pick up some, and the kitchen got the marble countertop. I'm like, damn! You know what I mean? Hey, my mama done came up since I left the nest, boy. But anyway, so, you know what I'm saying? Next is the floors. Now they gonna lay some hardwood floor down, not only in the kitchen, but in the living room, hallway, all that. So, okay. But in order for them to do that, what did they have to do? They had to save. You understand? And guess what? You want to renovate your house, it might require you to hire carpenters. You understand? Plumbers, electricians. You understand? People that got certain abilities you don't got. Like, I got a house. I got a property in Pine Bluff. I got to save money to make that house a home because it's raggedy as hell. You understand? I have to hire people, right? But you got to have that vision, and you got to act on that vision by implementing a plan of savings. That's what we was able to do as a nation for the house of the Lord. And watch this. Read the next verse.
And when they had finished it, they brought the rest of the money before the king and Jehoiada, whereof were made vessels for the house of the Lord, even vessels to minister and to offer withal, and spoons and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered burnt offerings in the house of the Lord continually all the days of Jehoiada.
So guess what? They had money left over from their savings. They was able to repair the house of the Lord, hire the people to do the work, and then with the money left over from the savings, they was able to make vessels of gold and silver for the house of the Lord. You understand? So you say, for example, you had a goal to save this amount of money for this project, and you saved that amount, did the project, and it only, say you saved 100 for it. Because you thought it was going to take 100 to do it, and you did it, and you only spent 95. Now you got 5 racks to, you know what I'm saying? Do your pleasure. For real, it's many perks when you got a mind to save. You understand? For real, you be able to make stuff happen. All right? So from there, go back to the video.
Second step is really, really crucial to actually achieving financial success and being able to save money effectively, and that is by creating a very simple personal budget, a monthly budget. I have a free budget template down in the description if you're interested in using it. It's on Google Drive, or you could just create your own on something like Microsoft Excel. Or you could go old school, get out a pen and a paper and just start creating a budget. Write down all of your monthly expenses and your total income on a monthly basis, and that way you can see where the money's coming in and where it's going out. If you're not measuring and calculating your cash inflows and outflows, you're going to have a lot of issues actually trying to save money if you don't know what's going on and you don't know where that money's going. You don't know how much money you're spending on food and how much you're spending on all these other various expenses in our life. It can really pile up and really get ahead of you. So you want to get ahead of this and create a budget. And it's a pretty simple step, but it's something that so many people just neglect and they don't do because they just are kind of lazy or they just don't feel like they need to do it. But I'm telling you, if you're trying to save the most amount of money, this is how I went from saving almost nothing to being able to save a lot more money, was by using a budget. Now,
all right. So we went over that last time, right? Budgeting. You ain't gonna be able to save if you don't got no budget. So like I said, if you haven't watched it already, go and watch it after this. All right? In order to execute saving, you have to have a budget. All right? And we went into it in depth, but I'm going to pull a scripture. Go to Proverbs 27 and 23, because he mentioned about calculating and measuring and you recording and writing down and taking account and stuff like that. That stuff requires diligence. He said people don't create a budget. They skip over that step because of laziness, right? We can't be like that. Read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 23.
Come on.
Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds.
Right, so that's going into, you know what I'm saying, the animals and stuff that you got on your respective acreage or whatever the case may be. You got to make sure that they are well nourished, that they, you know, not walking around with a sickness and stuff like that, because a lot of people be having animals and they die or they go missing. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord put that wisdom in the scriptures for those of us that own or possess, you know, certain animals that we're trying to use for things like milk, meat, maybe, you know, clothing, wool for clothing, things of that nature. And the spiritual aspect is dealing with the congregation, like the leadership. You got to be diligent to know what's going on with the people up under you, right? We're going to use it in a financial perspective. Be diligent to know what's going on with your affairs, your spending, your earning, your saving. You got to be diligent to know the coming ins and the going outs of your bank account. You understand? And that requires you to budget. You got to say, all right, we only going to spend 50 on this. If you just willy-nilly or whatever, you going to wonder why you ain't got so much in your account. You forgot that one day you spent $60 on this and then $100. When you got a budget, you can only operate within the confines of that bar that you set. But it take diligence. If you just trying to keep it muscle memory in your mind, it's not going to work like that. You got to write stuff down. You got to be strict. You got to be watching. You got to be diligent to take record of those things and keep record of those things. All right? You can't be lazy. In order to do that, you cannot be lazy. All right, so go to the next timestamp. We almost done. Yeah.
In the past, the one that was the most effective for me was by really implementing this super simple but so effective strategy, and it was by setting up automatic withdrawals with my bank. So look, what I have set up now is I have money flowing into one primary account, but I don't really use this account too much. It's sort of like a shell account, because after this money comes in, my income comes into this one account, and then it gets distributed through automatic withdrawals to various other accounts. So automatically 30% of my income goes directly into investments and savings accounts. So 30% gets thrown into there. Now I'm left with 70% to then use for the cost of living, to pay for my rent, to pay for my food, to pay for health expenses, to pay for any other expenses you might have. That's what that other 70% is. And you can decide this for yourself if you want to set this. Maybe you want to automatically withdraw 10% or 20% or more, whatever you can personally afford out of your budget that you already calculated previously. Then you can decide how much you're able to do. But look, I'm telling you, this is incredibly important to do, because with these automatic withdrawals, you want to set this up on the day that you get your paycheck. So the day that money gets put into your account, you have automatically withdrawn 30% of that, or whatever percentage that you are able or capable of doing, then automatically withdraws, gets put into savings accounts or investment accounts, IRAs, whatever your heart might desire to put into something, and then you're left with a certain percentage to then live off of. And I don't want to say trick yourself into thinking that you have a certain income, but the way that I like to do it is I then say, you know what, I'm not making X amount of dollars, I'm only making 70% of that. And I tell myself, look, I have to live off of this and disregard that other 30%. It's a great way to really save money, and it's hard to go wrong with it in a lot of cases by using this strategy. So there's really 5 different needs that are pretty essential.
So I want to speak on that, because there's wisdom in that, because a lot of times, you know, we get paid, we see that money, you know, the balance is $4,676. We think we got $4,676. Somebody asks you, man, you got this money? Yeah, man, I got about that. You know what I'm saying? But if you set up an account or multiple accounts, you know what I'm saying, to where when your paycheck come, it automatically deduct this amount of money, which you would typically spend on bills. It automatically deduct this amount of money that needs to go in the savings account or investment account. It automatically deducts this amount of money for your famine account, your pantry account. Because we in this truth, we need to have a family account. I'm finna set me up one. You understand? But anyway, that way, when you got those different accounts automatically withdrawing on your payday, that means when you look at your account on payday, it's 1,000% net income. It's what you made minus what you gotta spend and what you gotta save. That way you not, like you said, tricking yourself into thinking you got this much. Well, no. You're supposed to be saving this amount. You're supposed to be putting that towards this, and you're gonna have to pay XYZ bills over here. You understand? So it's wisdom in that. You need to get on and go to your bank and talk to the, you know what I'm saying, the people in the little office and to the side, and set that up. I want to do this. I want to do this. So I don't have to try to manually, you know what I'm saying, keep up, because that can be draining. A lot of people just don't got time for that. Some people hire accountants for that. We ain't got no money to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's an easy way, that's an easy strategy to ensure that you save money. That's wisdom right there. All right, play on.
for most humans. Now, within these 5 needs, there's ways to cut back on each of these categories, and we're going to dig into these. The first one is food. This is one of my favorite ones to cut back on, and the reason for this is because food is one of the most depreciating assets you could ever imagine. I mean, if you spend $20 on a meal, you eat the meal, now there's nothing on your plate and there's no value left over. You basically could have just eaten that $20 bill, because that's the effect that it has on your wallet. So cutting back on food costs can be really effective. There's various ways to do this. Stop eating out as much, make your own food, and also consider buying products that are not branded but more so store brand. Products can save you $50 a month, $100 a month, or more, depending on how much you're spending at the moment on food. But I love cutting back on food without depriving yourself of nutrients. Make sure you're getting good food in your body, and that is very important. Now the next one is...
So that, hey, that's heavy, and I touched on that earlier. Great value. You need to make great value your best friend. I'm telling you. All right? I know you grew up, you know what I'm saying, messing around with the, what's the ketchup brand? The Hunts and the, you know what I'm saying? Great value tastes the same. It's the same. I'm telling you, trust me. It's the same. You understand? I know you grew up watching them commercials. Bounty. The great value. Go wipe up the little water on the counter the same damn way. Trust me. You understand? I know the Schwarman commercial. You know, it's got the little thickness. It feel good. Listen, it's going, the great value toilet paper going to do the job. You just take a shower. You know what I'm saying? For real. It's going to do the job. It will go a long way. All right? But food, one thing that we hit on, Officer Baruch hit on it a lot, us in this truth, we got an advantage when it comes to cutting back on food by applying a thing, a spiritual thing, right? In order to grow spiritually. So it's for a spiritual reason, but it would also help you out quantity in terms of finances, and that's fasting. Give Mark chapter 2 in verse 19. Now, the brother on the video talking, he's skinny. You know what I'm saying? I've been skinny all my life. Someone that's skinny, you know, we might struggle with this thing because, you know, when I fast, I drop about 5-10 pounds off the rip. You know what I'm saying? Some brothers, they might feel like they can't afford to fast for the sake of their physical constitution, right? But, you know, hey, if you broke, you got to make them type of sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? And if you already a damn lord ass, why not? It's going to help you burn the fat, and it's going to boost your spirit up. You know what I'm saying? It's going to draw you nearer unto the Lord. I'm telling you, man, listen, you fat, you should be fasting at least once a week, if not twice a week. For real, if you fat and you borderline, you living paycheck to paycheck, and you fat, you have a serious problem. You got the damn devil on you. All right? You need to start fasting ASAP. ASAP. For real. You need to start fasting ASAP. It's going to help you save money, and it's going to help you with your health, which we're going to touch on in a second. All right? But read what you got.
The book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 18. And the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast. And they come and say unto him, Why do the disciples of John and of the Pharisees fast, but thy disciples fast not?
Right. So the Pharisees, they recognized that John the Baptist's disciples and the Pharisees and them, they fasted pretty often, right? A noticeable amount. So Christ, how come your disciples don't be fasting like that? We always see Peter and them snacking on something. What the hell? Read on.
And Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them?
Right. So the purpose of fasting spiritually is to draw nearer unto the Lord. They literally talking amongst the Son of God every damn day. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no reason to fast. They with him. They with the man. Read on.
As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast.
Right. It ain't no reason for them to fast. They with me. I'm with them. Come on.
But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from
Right.
them.
But the day gonna come where I ascend in the heaven and sit on the right hand of the Father. Read on.
And then shall they fast in those days.
And then in those days, my disciples gonna be fasting. So if you a disciple of Christ, he not walking amongst us. He up there with the Father. So in efforts to draw near unto God, what should we be doing often in these days? Fasting. Fasting. And that's going to help you save. All right? From there, go to Sirach 31:19. Sirach 31:19. So, you know, if you not a you may not be a serial faster or whatever the case may be, you know, whatever. There's a thing called intermittent fasting that you can do to build yourself up to that, right? Or if you one of them people that your metabolism ain't that high, and if you eat 3 times a day, you're going to gain weight, this is something that you need to be practicing. All right, read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 31, verse 19.
Come on.
A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
Read that again.
A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
Right. So if you ain't no anorexic looking ass brother, you know what I'm saying? You know, you naturally got some thickness of flesh, then you can afford to start eating 1 meal a day. You understand? Eating light in general, right? If you do eat, you ain't throwing them with some salads and some fruits in a bowl. You know what I'm saying? You do a little salad every now and then. You know what I'm saying? All you need is a little bit to survive on a day-to-day basis. And we all should be getting in that habit, you know, that doing that to prepare ourselves for the time to come. The Lord say we going to be measuring our bread by weight. You understand? For real. We going to be portioning out every damn thing. Ain't going to be no leftovers. Ain't going to be no half bottles of water left around the school to be. None of that. You understand? So foreseeing those things to come, we should be conditioning our bodies to be able to survive off 1 meal a day. Lord said, if you well nurtured, all you need is a little bit. For real. So we got to apply these things, especially if you need to save money. I'm telling you, you need to do that. You need to cut back on your eating. All right, go back to the, that's probably my biggest expense outside of, you know, the major bills and stuff. And groceries, man. Whew. For real, it take a lot for me not to be skinny. My metabolism, boy, man, my body eat up every ounce of fat, every idle piece of fat, you eat it up. Take a lot for me not to be. I'll be like, damn, we gotta go to the store again. Shit. But ask my wife, man, I'm telling you, it's a struggle. I go back to the article. The video. Right there.
With shelter. The cost of shelter is difficult to avoid that one. One of the best ways to cut your cost of your apartment or your house in half is to get a roommate or consider renting out a room in your home through something like Airbnb to cut the cost of living for yourself literally in half. Now, there's also some other ways you can go about this. If you're not interested in getting a roommate or you already have a roommate, you could consider cutting some utility costs, for example, Wi-Fi or electrical. There's ways to actually cut these costs. And so most people think that there's only one electrical provider or one Wi-Fi provider, when really you could look into various companies that are offering similar products and shop around a little bit more. And just because you've been using the same provider for the past 10 years doesn't mean that you shouldn't look into getting a different one, because what happens, and this happens with other utilities as well. So for example, waste management, trash companies, for example, will jack up the price over time without people really realizing, until you look and you say, wait a minute, this bill is 3 times higher than your competition, so you switch to the competition. So make sure that you're on top of that, switching to various different providers for various utilities to get the most effective use of your money. Number 3 is transportation. Now this is
So get that real quick, Sirach 29:21. That's heavy right there. And I touched on that at the beginning of class a little bit, dealing with the helpmeets out there. You sisters, y'all should take a prerogative. Remember, the scripture talk about the ordering of your house, right? The house is, like your personal project. As a woman, like it's your job to, scripture say a wise woman buildeth her house, right? So especially if you're an housewife and you got that extra time on your hands, you should be applying some type of diligence to always make sure that y'all using the best, most affordable providers for these different things like Wi-Fi, internet. Like my wife, she found some type of little program or whatever. It's only $25 a month or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, everybody use AT&T. Man, AT&T gonna bust your damn head. You understand? So start doing research on different providers, because 9 times out of 10, like, especially car insurance, you know what I'm saying, different things of that nature, is damn near always a provider out there that's cheaper than what you just taking something and running with it. All right, but when it comes to the house, it's a couple things I want to touch on out of that. But the cutting down, like you said, on the electrical bill and the water bill and all that, that applies, that's dealing with discipline as well. Like, I know you be feeling like, I'm finna go back to the room in a little bit, so I'm gonna leave the light on, or I don't want nobody to think we not here at night, even though our car is parked in the driveway, so let's leave the light on so they won't think they could break in. That's like a black people myth, right? Stop it. If you ain't in the room, cut the damn light off. If you leaving the house, cut the damn air off. You understand? If you brushing your teeth, cut the water off until you need to rinse. Don't leave the water running. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta take a 30-minute shower. For real, get in there, get it done. Wipe here, wipe there, spin around, and get the hell out of there. You understand? We gotta learn how to do this stuff. I'm telling you, this coming from somebody that in July, my bill in the damn 2 digits to my last 3-4 damn electric bills been $100, $200, $300 damn dollars. I'm finna lose my damn mind. I'm scared to open the next one. Real talk. Hey, cut the damn lights off. For real. Just open the damn blinds. But read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and in house to cover shame.
Come on.
Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house.
Because a lot of us got this issue with, and our brothers be thinking, oh, yeah, I want to make sure my wife, she in the safe place, blah, blah, blah. Scripture say better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. Where am I going with that? So we know, like, in another man's house, we think, okay, living with somebody or something like that. But if you paying rent, you living in another man's house. You understand? So a lot of us be trying to get these nice apartments, where it look nice, and, they keep the landscaping good, and they got a pool, and blah, blah. And the layout of the apartment real nice, and you paying $700-800 a month because your wife, she just loves that apartment. When you could be, you know what I'm saying, your credit might not be that good, but you can get you a little $80, $90,000 crib. Now it ain't gonna look like your apartment. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be all up to date like that. But guess what? Your mortgage ain't nothing but $400. $500. You know what I'm saying? Damn near half what you spending in another man's property. We gotta start taking that stuff into account. Holla at me, Mr. Israel the Realtor. You know what I'm saying? I got you. For real. But anyway, I don't know. It is what it is. But it will behoove you to get your credit right. And, once you get a stable income to where your W-2 is solid throughout the whole year, you went going through periods of unemployment and stuff like that, go on and holler at me. All right? For real. Because it's better to be paying a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Something that you invest in is going to be your own one day. And for your kids and your kids' kids, as opposed to making another man rich, paying him rent. You paying another man mortgage. All right? I'm telling you. You getting your head bust. Read on.
Be it little or much.
Be it what?
Be it little or much.
Whether it's a little house or a big house. Because a lot of us live in a certain type of way. I remember a brother, you know what I'm saying? He was up. He hit some licks. I guess they was kind of legit. I don't know. Brother hit some licks. In the body, he was up. Brother went and got him a penthouse. You know what I'm saying? For real, penthouse in the rock. I ain't know that existed. Brother went and got a penthouse in the rock. And then years later, things didn't change. You know what I'm saying? So I bet he wish he would have, got a more humble abode while he was up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, when we up, we be willing to pay them $1,000 rents and, you know what I'm saying? Just to be living a certain way, having some type of luxury outward appearance. Listen, read that again.
Be it little or much. Hold thee contented.
Be content. We in a time where we must be able to save money. You don't need the biggest house, the nicest house on the block. You don't need to be living in them nice apartments. So you need to be living in what you can afford to be able to save individually as well as invest, as well as contribute to national savings. You understand? So you spending your last dime to be able to pay that high rent and that high car note because you want to look good and ride good and all that. You really slick. You robbing the nation. Because that stuff is vain. When you could be having a humbler abode and being able to afford to do better things, smarter things for your money for times to come. All right? Finish that?
That thou hear not the reproach of thy house.
So go back to the video.
This is one that is very difficult to avoid as well, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the average cost of operating and owning a vehicle is close to about $9,000 per year. I'll leave a link to that down below because I was kind of taken aback when I read that at first, but the cost of owning and operating a vehicle is very expensive, especially if you're racking up a lot of miles on it. People don't always consider this. Look, you're paying for auto insurance, you're paying for the vehicle expenses, you're paying for gas, you're paying for all these different issues that might pop up with the vehicle. You need new tires, you need to get it inspected, you need to get a new alternator, and it runs up a lot of money. So look, if you live in an urban or even a suburban area where there's some type of public transportation or even Uber sometimes, you might want to consider thinking whether or not it's actually worth it for you to own a vehicle and how much you're using that vehicle versus something like public transportation. Run those numbers. I highly suggest that because cars are a money pit. They're difficult to avoid, especially if you're in rural areas like myself. It's difficult to not have a vehicle. I did it for a while, but eventually I had to end up getting a vehicle. But look, if you can cut back those, it's going to help you so much. Now, there's two more here that are very essential. Clothing.
So we identify with being in a rural area. Little Rock, North Little Rock, this ain't New York. This ain't LA. You lived in those cities, the bus and the subway would be pretty smart. Here, no. You don't need a damn car. All right. So there's a thing, it's like a sweet spot. All right. You gotta be wise, because if you get an old little cheap car, you know what I'm saying, because you don't want to pay a car note, your ass gonna be paying a car note plus every other week. You gotta get a fuel pump here, alternator there. You know what I'm saying? A damn axle here. You know what I'm saying? A damn muffler here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Did you do all of that just for the damn head gasket to blow? Now it ain't no damn good at all. We done been there, done that, did it again. You know what I'm saying? So don't get no old raggedy car because I can cash out. All right. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, you want to get the newest model and all of that you ain't got to worry about all that. It got the bells and whistles, but their car note too damn high. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta find a sweet spot in there. You know what I'm saying? Get you a car with low mileage. You might have to pay a note, but you ain't gotta worry about all the expenses on the back end. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta use wisdom with the car, but also be more tactical in your journeys. Meaning what? Like me, I'm gonna use myself. I'm a donkey of the day. You know what I'm saying? I do stuff like the gym I go to is in Sherwood, right? My mama house is Sherwood. So I'll go to Sherwood to go to my mama house for something, then go back home just to have to go back to Sherwood to go to the gym later. No. All right, set it up to where you doing trips that make sense. You know what I'm saying? Don't be going to Little Rock and then coming back and then going back to, you know what I'm saying? I get on the brother about that a while ago. They lived in Conway, always commuting back and forth. Man, you need to be smarter, all right, with your journeys. Myself, you know what I'm saying? The same thing. Yesterday I ended up not going to the gym, you know what I'm saying? Because I went to the studio in Sherwood, but I brought Zion, so he can't go to the gym with me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go back to North Little Rock. If I was like, damn, I'm still going to the gym, then my dumb ass would have wasted that gas, about 2 gallons, going back out there. So I was like, man, it's over with. I'll go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you gotta be more tactical with your journeys. Right? You gotta be conservative with your gas, your mileage. All right, for real. All right, so go back to the video.
This is one that's very easy to cut back on. The best way to cut back on the cost of clothing, what I found, is to unsubscribe from all these different emails from clothing providers that are giving you sales and discounts. And look, email marketers are paid to do something that they're very good at, and they're very effective at it. That's why they're still making money and they're still sending these emails, because they're effective. Look, when you're getting those emails where it says 40% off sale of this clothing store, people end up buying clothes. So what I do, I unsubscribed from all of those different email providers and emails that I was getting, and that way I wasn't tempted to go out and buy something because I got an email about a special sale on something that I didn't really need or want, but ended up buying. So unsubscribe from those emails. And if you're really pinching pennies, if you're really in kind of an area where you need to start saving more money, you're on a tight budget, I would consider going to something like a thrift store or Goodwill or Salvation Army if you need to go to that. There's no shame in that. Look, I've done it in the past, and I think it's actually really effective and helpful to society, because I feel as though people are very wasteful. They buy things and they just throw them in the trash and they end up in the landfill. But with something like thrift stores, you're able to recycle clothing and it's much less expensive as well. So consider that as well if you're in a tight budget. If not, then maybe you don't have to worry about that. But the one other on this list is health.
So
and health is
So the clothing thing, right? I like what he said about the unsubscribing to the emails and things of that nature because, you know, depending on your spirit, like me, for example, in the world, I was a clother. I didn't wear the same outfit twice. That's just how I was since an early teen. I was in the mall or TJ Maxx, or, you know what I'm saying, wherever, weekly. You know what I'm saying? Weekly. Every week, every time I made some money, that's what I'm going to get. A new fit. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I was. When I came into the truth and I fell in love with the scriptures, I did a complete 180. However, you know what I'm saying, that old man, that old desire still lies dormant, right? Meaning, hell, I'm going to camp fly missions all the time. Like, I got black pants, black boots, IUIC shirt. I'm good. I ain't sitting up there, seeking or going. I ain't going nowhere but to the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going nowhere but the camp. But if I find myself in the clothing store, you know what I'm saying, and I see something I like, the temptation, it did get on me. You know what I'm saying? If I'm scrolling through my email and I somehow end up hitting one of them little subscription things and I'm back on the website I used to shop on. I used to shop on Karmaloop. I don't know if that's a website no more. I don't know. But if I trumbled up on one of them little emails and one of they little new releases and it's like, oh, just 30% off and all that, I'm going to find myself, you know what I'm saying, with some clothes in transit. For real. Because that spirit is still lies dormant with it. It is what it is. Like, I like clothes. I like nice clothes. You know what I'm saying? For real. But now, like he said, I stay away from the subscriptions. I don't just go to the mall. I don't put myself in that situation because I know if I do, that's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? For real, I shop like once a year, literally. I shop for clothes once a year. I didn't recently had to shop this past year due to, getting a little bigger, you know what I'm saying, as well as, the real estate stuff and stuff like that. But outside of that, unless you got some type of profession change where you got to update your wardrobe or get a certain type of wardrobe for career purposes, or you done lost a lot of weight, or you done gained a lot of weight, we in this truth, man. Get Matthew chapter 6, verse 28. We ain't out here trying to impress nobody. And, we ain't going to the club on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to the family, we ain't going to Easter Sunday. We ain't going to the birthday parties. That's what we used to jump fresh at. We ain't doing that no more. You ain't going to school every day. You know what I'm saying? Who you trying to impress? What's the point? It's no point. Unless you got that worldly spirit on you. Read what you got.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 28. And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Mm-hmm. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Uh-huh. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed?
Read.
For after all these things do the Gentiles seek.
Right, the people in the world. The nations and, lost Jake, that's what they worried about. They worried about how fresh they going to be, how good they going to look, and this outfit or this brand of clothing and all of that. We ain't worried about that. Read on.
For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things.
Right, he know what you need. He know what's of necessity concerning the chief things of life in your life. So it's you don't if you sitting up there going above and beyond and just always trying to keep up with the newest fashion and all of that, that's not Christ like. You know what I'm saying? That's a different spirit. That's what the Gentiles seek type of spirit right there. So just be mindful. Like I said, that spirit lie dormant within me. I go to it, you put me in the wrong store. Yo, come out there with some bags. You know what I'm saying? For real. You gotta ponder the path of your feet, man. I'm telling you. Hey, for real, don't worry about that stuff. All right, go keep playing the video. Go back to the video.
Incredibly important. The best way to cut back on this is to make sure you're treating your body correctly. Health is one of the most important things in our life, but people pay a lot of medical bills because they have medical problems because they're not eating healthy and they're putting terrible foods, toxins into their body, and they're not working out, they're not exercising, and it's costing them a lot of money. Maybe not now, but trust me, 20 years from now, if you're treating your body like crap right now, 20 years from now, you're going to have plenty of medical problems. So make sure you address that and think about that for the future. Just be good to your body. Be nice to your body, because without your body, you probably wouldn't be alive. No, you definitely wouldn't be alive. All right, so that is this video. Thanks for watching.
So that's heavy. That's heavy. Go to Sirach 30 and 15. I'm going to show y'all that that's scriptural. All right, not properly invested into your health will cost you. All right, read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 15.
Come on.
Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth.
Right, so being healthy exceeds the value of monetary wealth. All right, read on.
There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart.
Come on.
Death is better than a bitter life, or continual sickness.
Or what?
Or continual sickness.
Continual sickness. When you disregard your health, that will befall you in your mid to latter days. You understand? A continuous sickness, and a continuous sickness will have you making continual visits to the doctor, and that's where them finances get hit. And that's in the scriptures. Get Mark chapter 5. So this sister right here now, she had this for the purpose of a manifestation of Christ's power. It was beyond her control. But I'm going to show y'all that when you have a continuous sickness, and it may be due to your neglecting of your health, you eating fried foods every day, or you don't eat nothing but meat, you don't institute no type of veggies and fruits in your diet, you don't drink water, proper amount of water every day, stuff like that, you just willy-nilly right now while you young, this is what will befall you as you get older. Read what you got. Mark 5:25.
The book of Mark, chapter 5, verse 25.
Come on.
And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years.
Right, that's a continuous sickness. She had that issue for 12 years. Come on.
And had suffered many things of many physicians.
And
had spent all that she had.
What she do?
Spent all that she had.
Read.
And was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse.
Because this medical business is a business. The pharmaceutical it's a business. It's an industry. You understand? The drugs that they make are not for the purpose of healing. It's to suppress how you're feeling temporarily and to draw you to keep going back for that medicinal product. You understand? It's a business. It's one of the biggest industries in the world financially. You understand? So if you disregarding your health, you're not properly dieting and exercising now, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. It might be in the form of diabetes, where you gotta go to dialysis twice a week. That's not cheap. You understand? It's quite the opposite, quite the contrary. You understand? So we gotta be mindful in taking care of our health, because that's gonna end up saving us in the long run, for sure, for sure. All right? So you can drop that. Go to Sirach 11. So I'm going to go through the last few scriptures, because it's a lot of different spirits in the body. You know what I'm saying? And some people are hearing this class, like a lot of people hear certain classes and they not getting cut, right? Yeah, man, that's what I be talking about, man. I be saving my money. I be stacking my bread. Yeah, bring it up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So some people are great individual savers. It may be what is naturally instilled in them, what they learned as a child, carnally, or, whatever the case may be. But a lot of people that are good savers based on some type of worldly foundation typically, have issues with niggardness. That's the term that the Bible uses. Going into being stingy, not being a liberal giver like the Bible encourages. So, I brought out this for us men, mainly, and for the sisters as well, because you will help me. That you got to help your Lord save money. But, it's some people out there that are, that miss the crabs. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Penny pinchers. And you are asking for something, they say they ain't got it when they got it, but that's their vacation fund. You know what I'm saying? That's their fund for their new stereo they trying to buy. You know what I'm saying? Something that's not necessarily of necessity when there's a necessity of your brethren in need, right? So we got to be mindful. When you are able to save, it's not for you to be selfish with your savings. The Bible talk about that. Read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 18.
Come on.
There is that waxeth rich by his wariness and pinching.
Right. Go to wariness. Definition of wariness real quick. You got a person that waxes rich by their wariness. No, not weariness. Yeah, take the E out. Wariness. Wiring. W-A-R-I. R-I-N-E-S. There you go. All right, play that. Click that right there. Just click it. All right. Read that for me.
Wariness. Caution about possible dangers or problems.
Right. So, like, everybody hates Chris, the daddy. You know what I'm saying? You got people that get rich like that. Now, the Bible tells you to be mindful of what's to come, right? That it's a healthy caution. It's called being circumspect. But you got some people that they are wary to the extreme. They circumspect to the extreme when it comes to their money. What I mean by that is every time a brother asks, every time a brother asks you for something, your thought automatically go to thinking evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't need the money, or you need to go ask somebody else, or you just trying to, you just asking me, or you count my pockets, da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, go back to the scripture. Read.
There is that waxeth rich by his wariness and pinching.
Right, he has wariness that prevents him from being a liberal giver, right? So he pinches the money. He's a penny pincher. You know what I'm saying? When he handed you some money, you kind of feel a little resistance when you pulling, like he don't want to let it go. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know how like somebody be handing you something and you like take it and turn around. But like like you couldn't turn just right around. You felt a little pull. You like, everything all right? It's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some people really got that problem, and they will wax rich by that, right? By being stingy. Read on.
And this is the portion of his reward. Whereas he saith, I have found rest, and now will eat continually of my goods.
Right. I done got rich. I done stacked all my funds up. I'm good. Read.
And yet he knoweth not what time shall come upon him, and that he must leave those things to others and die.
You've been saved up all that money from being stingy and all that. You done finally got to where you wanted to get, and then drop dead, lose it all. For real. Bible, damn, tell you. Be mindful. Luke 12:16. Luke 12:16. Read.
The book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 16. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits.
Right. So he was blessed. He had a great abundance. And he was like, damn, I ain't got no room to store my fruit. Read.
And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns.
So the brother had savings accounts per se, right? And he was so blessed that them just maxed out. He said, hey, I'm gonna go get some more. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull down these barns and do what?
And build greater.
Uh-huh.
And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods.
Right. So I'm gonna be like these millionaires out here. They got foreign accounts and these type of, you know what I'm saying? Just all type of accounts. Right? Read on.
And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years.
Right. You done saved all types of bread for many years. Read.
Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry.
Right. You finna have a nice retirement. Read on.
But God said unto him, thou fool.
Thou what?
Thou fool.
Read.
This night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided?
Right. In other words, give me your soul. You dead now. Now where all that money gonna go? Where all them fruits gonna go? Read.
So is he that layeth up treasure for himself.
For him what?
For himself.
Read.
And is not rich toward God.
So that's how you know it's going into a selfish individual, right? That does not give alms. Because that's how you are rich toward God. You understand? That's how you lay up a foundation for yourself in heaven, by giving alms. This person, he was stingy. He was thinking about his self, his personal life, and being able to live good in his latter years. Therefore, he withheld from giving to God and the people of God. You understand? And the Lord judged him for that. The Lord will judge you for that. That's the point. So you can't be like that. You can't be an Ananias and Sapphira. Everybody giving this money. Like we read in the scriptures. It was laws put out that everybody, you know what I'm saying, you give to where you don't have nothing over. So them that they weren't lacking. You know what I'm saying? That there may be an equality. If you don't got that mindset, you want to be Ananias and Sapphira, your ass going to end up being Ananias and Sapphira. You know, read Acts 5, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so go to Proverbs 3 and 9. We almost through. So on the contrary, you know, if you already one, or based on applying the different things in this class, you get to that point where you are a good saver, always keep the Lord in mind. All right, read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Honor the Lord with thy substance.
Honor the Lord with your substance, meaning what you possess. Read.
And with the first fruits of all thine increase.
The first fruits of all your increase, right? You should be thinking about the Lord first, meaning alms first, more so than, oh, yeah, I'm finna invest in this, I'm finna get this. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with doing that, but honor the Lord first and foremost. He should be getting the first fruits in your increase. Read.
So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine.
Right. In other words, the Lord, because the Lord don't want you to be broke. The Lord don't want you to be poor. You understand? But when you disregard him and his wishes, he will blow on your finances. You understand? He will cause it to disappear from before your eyes. So be mindful. If you want the Lord to bless your income and your savings and all of that, honor him with it as you gain. Last scripture, Sirach 29, verse 9. Sirach 29, verse 9.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 9.
Come on.
Help the poor for the commandment's sake.
Because it was always a commandment to help the poor, right? When you had it, give it. Read on.
And turn him not away because of his poverty.
Read.
Lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend.
What did God say?
Lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend.
Because the Lord never give you only enough for just you. You understand? The Lord then bless you with abundance is to put you in a position to help the next man. So you have to be willing. You can't have that weariness and pinching spirit. You got to be willing to lose your money for your brother, your friend. For real. It have been plenty of situations. Brother might have a blowout. Don't got no way to, to make it home. You might have to be the one to drop that $300-400 on that tire for him in that moment. You understand? Guess what? You got it. That's what it's for. I know you was planning on doing something different with it, but guess what? The Lord gonna recompense you for that. That's how you gotta look at that. It's not really a L. It's a spiritual W. But if you're not spiritual, that's how you gonna look at it, like a L. So you gonna hold back your bread. Read on.
And let it not rust under a stone to be lost.
Let it not sit in your savings account and you telling that brother, I ain't got it. Look at you showing him your checking account balance. Look, I only got this much. You know what I'm saying? Knowing damn well you got the racks in your savings account. You leaving it under a stone to be lost. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen to it. You ain't doing right by it, by what the Lord blessed you with. I'm telling you, it's going to be lost. Read on.
Lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High.
Save your money according to the commandments, not for covetousness' sake. You understand? Not just for personal, carnal endeavors and carnal gain. Lay up your treasures. Save your money, right? According to the commandments of the Most High. For the body, for the upkeeping of the sanctuary, the fatherless, the widow, the relief of the poor in general. You understand? As well as for the famine to come. Right? Lay up your treasures according to the commandments of the Lord. Read.
And it shall bring thee more profit than gold.
It's going to bring you more profit than just a high account balance. You understand? It's going to recompense you in ways beyond just the financial aspect. You understand? So we got to be mindful. Stay in the spirit. All right? Applying these things that's being brought out. All right? So Lord's willing, y'all was edified. Next time, Lord's willing, we're going to deal with investing. All right? So with that, we say shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.